already told me that one a while back. That's
Yeah.
one of the big ones. It's like an Andretti or an Unser or somebody.
Yeah.
A Fittipaldi. I don't know, one of those.
On the first Wednesday of May, and I forgot to wear my Bearcat Express shirt. It just hit me. We'll make that up to you, Blair Cook. Good
Absolutely.
afternoon. My name's Chuck Burge. I'm here with my co-host, Robert Kinney, and this is Three Guys Who Love Sports, and we're here to talk some sports. Are we going to have Sean, our bartender, on as our guest?
He is currently making an old-fashioned, it looks like. So
It does look like he's making an old-fashioned. So I guess we will move on. First, let me tell you a little bit about the show. The show is here to help support guys that are going through physical and mental issues. And if we can help take their mind off what they're going through for an hour every week, and you can help somebody get through a problem for a week, for an hour on a weekly day basis, then we'll all be in good shape, and we'll all be better people for what's going on in the world. So,
absolutely.
you know what? You want to go ahead and do one of the other commercials, and we'll try to slide in somebody from Miller's later.
I can do all that kind of stuff.
Let's do Supreme Lending. I think they were first on the list, right?
They were. I don't know if that was correct, but when I did the list, that's how it ended up. Supreme Lending was founded in 1999 with one goal in mind, to improve the mortgage process. Since then, we've been doing just that. Here we deliver exceptional service and some of the fastest turn times in the industry. Our team is going to stay in touch with you throughout the process and get your home closed quickly and conveniently. Whether you are buying or refinancing, our goal is to have your loan clear to close in 30 days or less so that you can focus on everything else. Whether it's your first mortgage or your 1,000th, make it Supreme. Find us on the web at alvinjameson.com or give us a call at 865-357-6500.
Supreme Lending, thank you much for your continued support of the Three Guys Who Love Sports show. So we've had quite the busy week. We will get into that. We were expecting one guest that did not show up, so we have our good friend Mr. Mark Ferris back to fill in. So, Mark.
Thank you very much, Robert. Good to see you as always.
seeing you, sir.
You mean Kenny?
Well, yeah, that was I renamed him, but you know.
Well, it's funny because most coaches I ever had in my life, when you have two first names or four first names as I do, it happens quite often. So I never felt out of place with you going, Kenny, tell me something.
That's it.
How do you have four first names?
Because I have four names. I have two middle names. So,
Robert, what?
oh, here we go. It's Irish, Hindu, Irish. Full name,
Hindu.
Robert
Interesting.
Regis Suresh Kenny.
Wow.
Wow.
They say that no matter what your name is, there's somebody on this planet of 8 billion people that has the exact same name. Not this guy, let me tell
Probably
you right now.
not.
You throw that second middle name in there and you take it from the
Where
other side
did
of the planet.
where did that come from?
I was one of my dad's best friends from his work was the only person at the hospital the day I was born, and I was born on his birthday. My mom informed my dad, I'm going to call him Suresh. My dad pleaded with her, please do not do that. I will never hear the end of it from this man, but, so be it.
You'll always be Robert to me.
I think I'm just going to stay with either Kenny or Robert.
Yeah,
that'll
yeah,
work.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So what are we getting into today, Robert?
How about that draft? What did you guys think about the aggressive Texans?
I thought it was a great move for Texas. They gave up a lot, like a lot of people do. They gave up a lot. They may not have a pick again for a while, but they were kind of in a position where they had to do something. They were so far down the totem pole. I was very surprised they did it, but I think it's a good move for them.
I agree.
After looking at some evaluations of the draft, they moved them up to the top 4 or 5 in the whole draft. So yeah, I think just based on the what the prognosticators think about what that move was, and and Stroud, obviously his stock was incredibly high, and they had a need there.
Yeah, and that's a garbage fire of organization. The ownership is not exactly stalwart, and at the end of the day, you could have gotten the best quarterback out of the deal and the best defensive player. So I don't know how it pans out for him, but at least if you're a season ticket holder in Houston, you're thinking, well, at least they're trying.
Has it ever happened that the first offensive player and the first defensive player came from the same college?
I don't know that.
I don't either. I just know they're winners. And when they've drafted kids that are proven winners at a high level, the highest level in college football. And so that brings what they bring in is a winning mentality and a winning attitude.
On draft day, when you're looking at those top 10 picks and it's Ohio State, Alabama, and Georgia, you just kind of look at it and go, well, you got a guy who's been in all those games.
Yeah, and I thought the top 10 was pretty much. How did we do? I mean, we got the first 2 right. We may have got the first 3 right, but not to the right team, right?
No, we got them to the right.
No,
because there was
Houston
a
got
trade.
traded.
Yeah, we weren't drafting to teams. We were just drafting
to spots.
players.
Yeah, that's
We
what
got
I'm
the
saying.
first
Yeah.
3.
Yeah, we got the first 3 right, I think. So that's better than we did last year.
Last year we made the picks. See, this year we got smart and made nothing.
We got smart. Let somebody else do it.
I thought we got the first 4 right because I thought we picked Anthony Richardson at 4.
No, we picked. Ian picked Will Levis.
That's correct.
Oh.
That's correct.
Yeah. So Richardson instead of Levis. Yeah. Oh, thank you. Yeah. So
So let me go ahead and we'll start with Chuck. What'd you think about the Falcons?
I really wasn't extremely disappointed because I knew Bijan Robinson was a very talented running back, probably the most talented running back out there. And some people now say the most talented athlete in the draft. I wasn't that excited about it, but more I listened to what he said. I watched all the interviews of him being interviewed by ESPN and by the Falcons and his introductory speech. Class dude. I mean, class dude. And I think he will fit in well. When they went and got the offensive tackle, what's his name, from Syracuse?
Yeah, the big kid.
I felt a lot better about what they did. I think they've addressed enough of the defense with free agency. And I think
I agree.
that's why they went offense, because I think they got what they wanted out of the free agency from defense. And they still picked up a couple of defensive players. But overall, I'd have to say I'd give them a B+. I thought they did well. I like Fontenot. I really like him. He seems to have a good head on his shoulders. And I know they've gone tight end, wide receiver, and running back now in the last 3 years in the top 10, which I know irks you. But
Lord have mercy.
I have positive vibes about the Falcons. I like Arthur Smith, as I've said many, many times. I think he's got a plan, and I think he knows where he's going with it.
I do too, Chuck. I really do. I think that, Derrick Henry, he had him before. I think this guy's a very similar back to that, very reliable back. He can carry the ball if he had to 25 times a game. He can catch the ball out of the backfield. And then, like you said, I think it solidified that knowing where they're going when they drafted the big kid from Syracuse.
Also, they said they did not address their wide receiver needs, but Bijan Robinson can be a wide receiver. I read he played in other leagues, and he was strictly a wide receiver.
He was in high school before college, before Texas, yeah.
At the end of the day, going into the draft, and Lord knows nobody wanted to see this, but the weakest position on the team as far as depth and everything else was wide receiver. When you look at that team, you think, well, we spent all this stuff, but who's there? You got a first-round pick from last year who may or may not have panned out quite as well as you wanted, but I believe it's the wrong pick for that spot. I think we're all going to love Robinson. I think he was the best running back in the class, but you had an opportunity to take a talent that was probably top 2 talent that probably will never fall to you ever again at such a low pick. And the Atlanta Falcons did exactly what they've always done, and that's ignore the city of Athens and move on. I was, like I said, it was a good pick. He was a great player. He's going to make incredible he's going to make the team much better on offense, but it's still not the right pick.
Well, I will say this. After the draft, or after he was taken, I heard someone on ESPN, I think it was Dan Orlovsky, is that what he said, that after the 10th pick was made by Philly, that 4 of the top teams had taken him off their draft board because of their character issues off of the play. And I know that was a big part of the Falcons' reasoning for that.
And I get that, and if ever there's a team that could deal with that, it's probably Philly, who had 77 sacks last year. But at the end of the day, bless you, ATI. But at the end of the day,
I felt that in my ear.
Yeah, I felt it all around. You added a lot of really good pieces to that defense. You know, we got a guy from Baltimore, and we got a safety from here, and we brought in a couple people for this, that, and the other. And now all the pressure is on those guys. What can you guys do? Had they taken Jalen Carter, it would have been like taking a baseball bat to a hornet's nest. You were just going to unleash all those other people that you just signed, because all of a sudden none of them have to be the best player. So I am sad to see that it wasn't Mr. Carter, but like I said, Mr. Robinson, he's going to hit home runs this year. You know, there's going to be multiple plays, whether it's 2nd and 2, 4th and 7, and he's going to take it to the house. You know, it's a 65-yard touchdown. So I'm excited.
And he can be a third down back as well. I mean, he can.
I think he's an every down back.
I mean, exactly. And to his ability to catch the football, I think that makes it harder to defend. I think he's, you don't know if he's going to run some kind of pattern they're going to put him on, or either they're going to, they run some kind of trap or something with him.
And the Falcons did check all the boxes with their 2nd, 3rd, and 4th round pick, where they went offensive lineman, defensive lineman, and cornerback. It's just always hard to say what you're getting out of the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th rounds until they show up in the NFL and you get to see everything.
Exactly. Going back to what Chuck said, and to go back and just to reiterate that, I think they did address their needs defensively through the free agency, obviously, and so therefore they had the ability, I guess. And I'm like you though. I'm more of a traditionalist too, Robert. In the first round, you take a running back that early. I say no. Usually.
If his name was Earl Campbell and it was 1978, I am all about it. But, nowadays it just doesn't seem like the right pick. And we could have probably traded back a couple spots and gotten something else out of it as well.
Well, I think the pick that surprised me most was Jahmyr Gibbs going at 12.
Yeah.
That was a big shock to me, yeah. To the Lions. But I know one thing. Are they going to build hedges at the stadium in Philadelphia?
They've talked about it already.
I hate it. I hate it.
But let me just say this. It's not just Philadelphia. The whole state of Pennsylvania loves the Dogs. I mean, if the Steelers weren't drafting somebody, the Eagles were drafting them or signing, right after Jahmyr Gibbs got signed, heck, we'll trade for him. Just give us everybody. Keely Ringo, yes.
You know what? I didn't want to run the ball anyway.
There you go.
I'll throw the ball 65 times. It's fine.
So what's the deal in Philadelphia? I mean, did they draft Smith to come along with Carter to say, okay, let me take you by the hand because you're going to need some guidance?
I don't think so. And I read this, and this could be one of those lies. I haven't verified this one, but they asked the defensive coordinator from the Eagles last year who he liked on the defense, and he said, yeah, I like the defense. When you're looking down that list, the same thing we were talking about to begin with, when you're looking at a top 10 pick and you go Bama, Ohio State, Georgia, same thing. If you're a team that made it this close to winning the Super Bowl and you can grab 2 premier defensive guys and add them to an already juggernaut, it's crazy.
It's almost a no-brainer. One-stop shop, Athens, Georgia, defensively, right?
But is it good to have that many people on the same team, on your pro team?
If they're the best, then it is.
I just don't know.
I mean, but at the end of the day, those 3 schools, and I keep saying those same 3. They're recruiting better than everybody. So at the end of the day, once these guys come through, it's hard to say they're not. It's crazy.
I don't know. I mean, I've never seen that many. They're going to have as many as 5 defensive players start on Philadelphia from Georgia. I don't think I've ever seen that before.
I don't know.
I don't think it's ever happened before.
Yeah, I don't think it has either.
Yeah.
I think Ringo, they're going to move him probably to safety. I don't think he moves as well, as a corner in the NFL. I think he's been more of a safety. And a downhill guy.
And Philly wasn't the only team that did this. I saw at least 4 teams, I think, that took 2 players from the same school. and I don't think I've ever seen that before.
Well, that was one of the things I was thinking about when the Texans took Stroud, was because their next pick was 13. I was thinking the wide receiver
Jackson Smith-Njigba.
Yeah, it was like, wow, this is going to be perfect. He's going to fall right to him, and why wouldn't you give your rookie quarterback a guy who he's already comfortable with? But it is amazing how these teams seem to be falling into trends where they're just drafting everybody from the same place.
I know it was crazy. I enjoyed watching the draft. Me personally, I like the interaction between Goodell and the players. I think it's really cool. With the kid that we thought the Falcons were going to take, picked Goodell up and shook him around a little bit. I thought that was really cool. I guess it's just tradition now that everybody boos Goodell
Yes.
when he
It's just
comes
so
on
much fun.
stage. But
Yes.
I think he's done a good job. He's about to sign an extension for 5 years or something, right?
Correct.
Become the second longest tenured commissioner of NFL football.
And they did point out one thing about the NFL draft, and they're moving it around. It used to always be in New York, and now they're moving it around place by place. At the end of the day, it just so happened to be in the Super Bowl champion city, which who gets the last pick of the draft? The Super Bowl champion. So in all these other years where maybe the Titans draft 11th, well, a lot of people pack the streets of Nashville, but after the 11th pick, everybody's leaving because we already got our guy. Everybody had to stay there for the Kansas City pick, and it definitely made it more entertaining.
Over 400,000 people, or over 300,000 for the weekend. That's amazing to me. That's an event I'd like to go to.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Do we know where it is next year?
They
It's
know
Vegas,
for 2 or 3
isn't it?
years in a row.
Is it Vegas next year?
It's soon. It's definitely coming to Vegas soon.
I
heard
think
that
it is
multiple
Vegas
times.
next year, but I'd love to see it here.
So, which quarterback out of those top 3, or possibly 4, if you want to include Mr. Levis, has the most pressure on him this year?
I'm thinking Anthony Richardson, in my opinion.
I agree wholeheartedly. Those other teams are all horrible, and the Colts have been looking for the guy. The rest of the roster is built, and I don't know how that's going to work out.
I think it's Stroud probably with the most pressure because he's got to come from the furthest back. I mean, Houston is as low as going to get. Charlotte, they were the ninth pick
Charlotte,
originally, right?
That's true.
Yeah.
But they got rid of their best wide receiver to get up there.
Yeah.
So they're missing a lot of stuff.
Yeah. So, I think that it's such a what do you call it, dumpster fire in Houston that he's got the most pressure to bring the team back. Carolina's decent, but I mean, if I look at it now, Falcons might be the cream of the crop in the NFC South.
No, that pick definitely means our offense is clicking on more cylinders. We'll just have to see what Ritter's able to do for us.
But I did think the Will Levis pick was a little strange going to Tennessee because they got Malik Willis Will Levis because they got Malik Willis last year. They have Tannehill already.
So what's that tell you, though?
They're not confident in Malik
They don't have
Willis.
their guy.
Malik Willis, they know, and we've talked about this many times on the show before. We might not know what's going on in a practice, but a coach knows after 2 weeks if this is my savior or if I need to go back into this thing. So,
which again gets me back to Falcons quarterback Ritter. I mean, they must really believe he's the guy because they never addressed the issue of quarterback.
well, yeah, possibly not. Or once again, this guy did make a number 1 seed out of Ryan Tannehill. So, maybe he's just not worried about. I don't need a big name. But there was 14 quarterbacks drafted over those 3 days, and that's the most quarterbacks ever drafted. What does that say about the state of the NFL?
We even got one from Purdue. Aiden O'Connell went to Las Vegas
Good
to
Lord.
back up Jimmy Garoppolo.
Well, they were scraping the bottom of the barrel.
He was picked in the 5th round, so.
Well,
I couldn't believe Stetson Bennett went in the 4th, to be honest.
Yeah, that was, especially to LA, that was shocking.
Yeah, I'm thinking that offense is a premium, obviously, and they're looking for some quality backups. Not all those guys are going to start, as we know.
Correct,
The
correct.
majority will not. But I think it adds depth. Was it a good year in college for quarterbacks? Maybe, but 14 is, like you said, a record number.
Well, this guy had ATI had a question last year, and I believe it was on quarterbacks that had taken every snap or something like that.
Last year?
Last year in the NFL, you had something.
Oh, no, we had a thing that they take a snap?
How many quarterbacks? How many quarterbacks
Different
started?
quarterbacks.
Yeah.
And so there was
It's
only,
like we set the record. It was like 70
correct.
It was a lot.
different quarterbacks started last year.
But the
70
base-
different starters against
Yeah.
you.
But the base of that list is that I believe there was 11 guys who started every game, and so you've got 19 different teams where
That had like
and-
50 different quarterbacks starting.
And I think that's where it comes.
Right.
Is Stetson Bennett an NFL All-Pro? No, but if my guy gets hurt in week 3, he might just throw enough passes in a couple weeks to save us a little bit.
Backup quarterback in the NFL's best job in the world, man.
Yeah.
Unless you're the guy for Tampa Bay who clearly wasn't ready this past year.
Kyle Trask.
No, the guy on the last day. It was the guy at Johnson. I want to say he went to Kansas State. Remember there was that guy?
Oh, I remember.
Oh,
talking about,
Kansas State.
He showed up in the San Francisco game and just, it was like, you can tell this guy was planning on holding a clipboard all day. This is not what he was looking for. It was the San Francisco quarterback. It's the guy who came in
when Purdy got hurt. Yeah.
When Purdy got hurt, it was
the guy
Josh Johnson.
Josh Johnson.
Yeah.
So you got to be ready. You got to be ready. And
What a great segue into the next topic. What do you think?
Is there anything like being Mr. Irrelevant? Is that a real thing anymore?
Well, he proved that wrong, right? Yeah, because here he is, the starter for San Francisco, right? And
Purdy, yeah.
Such a good starter that supposedly they're shopping Trey Lance right now, which personally, just saying, I think might be a great fit for Atlanta. Just saying.
I'm sticking with Ritter. I think the guy deserves a chance, so we'll see.
I'm okay with that. We'll give Ritter another year and bring Trey in.
Some pressure there, though, when you think to perform,
Yeah, there is, but I think it's pressure he wants, and I think it's pressure he'll accept and exceed well.
Good
so
deal.
we'll see.
Well, Mr. Irrelevant this year was Toledo defensive lineman Deshaun Johnson, and he's an inside lineman, and he got taken by the Rams. So if you're ever going to get taken by a team, it's probably good to be next to possibly the greatest defensive tackle of all time.
Well, that's probably – don't they hold it out in Santa Monica, and then where the celebration is for Mr. Irrelevant, so he doesn't have far to go?
I did not know there was a celebration.
Oh,
for
yeah,
Mr.
there's a
Irrelevant.
huge parade and everything for Mr. Irrelevant.
There we go.
Yeah,
I love it.
yeah.
Let's do another commercial, and we will do a Modern Image commercial. Modern Image is a locally owned document and photograph scanning company that helps clients secure and use paper files and photos. Whether it's important business files or sentimental family photos and videos, Modern Image is dedicated to helping clients solve problems around paper.
Go Dogs.
Thank you.
Almost forgot. Thank you. Go lots of dogs to Philadelphia.
And Pennsylvania, like I said, that whole state seems to be planting them like corn around there.
Yeah.
Crazy. So, basketball. Who's been watching basketball? I know I got a basketball coach down here at the end.
I've been watching a little bit
Yeah,
of
a
basketball.
little bit.
So, did we get what we thought we were going to get out of the Hawks? 2 wins and a quick exit?
Yeah.
No, we got more than I
That's what
thought
I
we'd
started
get out of the
saying.
Hawks.
It exceeded my expectations,
Yeah.
especially being down 0-2.
By 2 games, it exceeded my expectations. So,
yeah.
Well, he hit that shot from mid-court to win that second game, and I've got all these friends, and they're like, "What a horrible shot! That's a stupid shot." But you're an Atlanta man. You've been around for a long time in this city. How many times have people in Boston or New York ever cried on the way home because of an Atlanta Hawk sending them there? I can only think of one. Dominique was great, but he never sent people home crying.
That's it. I agree. It's one of those deals like, terrible shot. What are you thinking? Hey, whoa, he goes in. Right. Good job. Right.
But I'm thinking that game in Boston, the second game that they won in Boston, that is the Atlanta Hawks team that everybody perceived at the first of the year. Playing that hard, Trey Young shooting that well, and it just didn't materialize. But that was a great, probably one of the best basketball games an Atlanta team has ever played, because that was the first. Well, other than beating them at home, that was the only time they'd beat Boston this year, right?
Correct. We were 0-3 during the regular season.
Yeah,
But
and they cleaned their clock in that game. They really did.
If you look at the average scores for the regular season, 2 of Boston's wins were dead on it. We averaged 119. a game for the whole season, and they averaged like 129 against us. So it just kind of flowed into it.
But the game that I enjoyed most was the 7th game of the Warriors and the
Kings.
And the Kings. Man, Looney just is bizarre, isn't he? You're going and getting 21 rebounds. He's a stud.
No, he's good. He's good.
I was a little surprised they lost last night.
That's a tough one. That's a tough one.
It's a tough turnaround after an emotional win like that, and really have to play your finest, and then come back and it didn't surprise me they got beat. I think they'll do better. I think that's really going to be a good series.
Outside the Clippers and Lakers, how great is it if you're Sacramento and Golden State that's your first series? How long did it take you to get there? Hour. So we're driving. So that's got to be kind of convenient as opposed to the Miami Heat and the New York Knicks or whoever else.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. I enjoyed watching the game last night as long as I could stay up. But the game that Steph Curry had with the 50 points, I mean, I've never seen anybody shoot like that in a game. That was unbelievable.
He is unbelievable.
And they went over so many different adjectives about him. Is he the best shooter? Is he the best basketball player? Is he the best offensive player? Where is he? And to me, he's getting very close to MJ for me. I just think he's a great athlete.
Well, the NBA loves to count rings, and Steph's got quite a collection going. So
he does.
If he pulls out another ring, and all of a sudden, it's hard to not include him in a lot of conversations. To me, you can't be the best basketball player ever if you're
if you're not MJ.
If you're 6'0" and you weigh 170 and you shoot it from half court. If you couldn't take a foul from Oakley, I can't put you at the same level as the people who
Agreed.
did.
Yeah.
But he's an incredible guy. So, Lakers and the Heat both moved on, and both got Game 1 wins. How do you see this Lakers series going with Golden State, Coach?
I think now it gets the guys that have been there and done that before. I think that it plays an incredible part because they know what it takes to advance and to win, and that toughness, some of the aches and pains, they kind of go away. The adrenaline, if you will, whatever, the competitiveness of veteran players that are on the Lakers. I think that's scary. They're a scary bunch to play.
A horrible 7 seed. When you look up and you're like, oh, good God.
Exactly. Look what we get.
Yeah. Thank you. It's like getting a 1 seed in basketball and looking at the 8-9 matchup and going, are you kidding me?
Exactly. Yeah. So I think with that, I think that's that doesn't. I think that bodes well for them. I think the Heat. We'll see. I don't know.
Well, I still have the Warriors and the Celtics. So unlike I did in hockey, I still have my top 2 teams in the NBA left. So.
Well, the Suns look putrid.
They really do.
That offense doesn't look like it can score its way out of a wet paper bag.
And so it amazes me that I got asked to come back after 2 weeks ago when I'm thinking they're going to win the whole thing, right? And now they're down 0-2. I look like a genius, don't I?
Who did you have them playing?
Yeah, it could have been maybe the Bucks. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, and where are they? They got bucked out.
They're at parts unknown.
Now, and that series really surprised me more than anything, especially after the Hawks beat the Heat. And then the Heat comes back and beats the Bucks in the series. And Butler's hurt now, right?
Yeah, he sprained his ankle or something.
Yeah, I think it was a high sprain.
Game 1.
Yeah.
I saw the post-game news conference after the Hawks-Heat game, and there was no guarantees or anything like that. But I had no doubt that the Heat were getting ready to start whipping up on some people.
Absolutely.
And they really did. They really did.
Well, who's going to step up? That Butler's hurt. I mean, they've got a bunch of has-beens and guys.
That's not true. They got Tyler Hero
Hero though. I mean,
Bam Adebayo.
Hero hasn't been a hero in a long time.
He won't be the hero.
It's been a minute since he's been whatever. But yeah, they got potential. Somebody's going to have to step up if they're going to be competitive.
Was it the last game that they played against the Bucks, or the second to last game where Jimmy had 26 in the first quarter? They scored 30 points in the first quarter, and Jimmy had 26. I don't think that team can recover from not having Jimmy. Just used to watching him. Unless, of course, you're used to watching the Beard, Anybody get to see the beard in
He had
action?
40,
the
had
other night?
45.
40.
Good.
Yeah,
You
big
know,
points.
my man Embiid won the MVP.
Yeah. He's not there.
Couldn't play, and
Yeah.
did it matter?
Not in the first game, he didn't.
Well,
Yeah.
But that's a heck of a steal. You get the first game while your big man who's an MVP is resting.
Now, if Giannis had not got beaten in the first round, do you think he would have got the MVP?
I believe voting was done before the playoffs ever started.
Do you?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think that's a procedure. I think.
Yeah.
But because I know in games against each other, Giannis outperformed him in every game. So I was a little surprised about Embiid. But I think he's been second the last 2 years or 3 years or something
Correct.
like that. Yeah.
He's been second fiddle for a while, but he's so good. So good.
Yeah. So good for him. I happen to see some new blood.
So the Nuggets.
They're golden.
But nobody ever talks about him for a 1 seed. Nobody's giving him anything, and the way the Suns are looking, all of a sudden, they're a game away from almost pushing a button and waiting on a really long series between the Lakers and the Warriors is what they're hoping.
Yeah. I think anybody left in the playoffs wants that. Wants them to wear each other out.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's it's kind of like the Heat and Knicks are hoping there's a Game 7 in Boston.
Yeah, I'm not a big Lakers fan at all, but there's a lot of talent on those two teams combined.
Correct.
There really, really is. Yeah. I mean,
The last two champions, correct?
Yep.
That's right.
It's kind of weird. Anybody watch any hockey since hockey started?
No, but I know the Bruins got beat.
Yep.
After being up 3-1.
Yes.
They're up 3-1 and then just fold.
Not
I
only up
did-
being 3-1, having the best record in the league, and being up a goal with 1 minute left in the seventh game, at home.
Every possible
Thing that could go wrong went wrong. in that
I
last
didn't
game.
even know the Florida Panthers existed.
There you go. Well, I mean,
That's
Well, you also think auto racing's a sport, so that's okay.
damn, I tell you, it sometimes never stops between these two. No,
boy.
but at the end of the day, if you're one of these teams, what do they call them? The original 8, the
Right.
original
Yeah.
6.
Yep.
And if you're one of these teams and you lose while up 3-1 with a goal lead with a minute left to a Floridian team, I mean, what a horrible way to end.
How do they even have ice in Florida?
It's very difficult. It's very difficult. I can tell you one thing they've never had is the January 1st outdoor game. played
No,
in
they have not
Florida.
hosted that game.
Yeah, they have not hosted
They will
that
not.
game.
They will not be hosting that game. Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Happening
Yeah,
anytime soon.
that's cool.
I don't know, Gene. But did you see the Zach Klein article from WSB about the new arena over in Forsyth County about the potential of having professional hockey
team
come
back
back
here?
to Atlanta?
I would
You
love
know,
to have hockey back.
I
here.
would too. I would. We were talking about it earlier today, Chuck. I love hockey in person. I mean, I'm telling you, it's like going to the fights and the hockey game breaks out. I mean, it's exciting, and
It is the most
yeah.
exciting sport to watch
in person. Yeah,
In person,
it
yeah.
is. It is from. Yeah, I really
It's more
enjoy-
fast paced than anything you're going to watch.
Anything else? I tell anybody who's going to a hockey game for the first time, don't watch the ice, watch the bench, because those guys can only skate for like 36 seconds without being, completely out of energy. So you just watch the bench and you watch these guys diving over the railing because you can't take your time at that transition.
And the transitioning of onto to your point,
So
Robert, is
seamless.
it's crazy. Yeah,
It
it's
is.
neat.
But again, we'll be talking about basketball and hockey till June.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
got another 2 months.
We
of
got
that.
another 2 months of this stuff. so.
It is definitely the funnest game you can go see, though.
It is fun.
Agreed there.
Wait, was it somebody used to throw squids on the court? Was that the Red Wings?
Detroit, yes, sir.
Yeah.
Detroit.
That was kind of
They
cool.
throw octopus.
Octopi.
Octopi.
Yeah. I like cherry pie, but if they want to throw octopi.
Yeah, it's one thing, a hat trick, everybody throws their hat down on the ice. That's really cool. Still not sure how the guy at the gate, they won't let me bring in a
Octopus.
I can't have a wine opener in my pocket to go to Truist Park, let alone somebody in Joe Louis Arena. It's like, sir, what's that in your pocket? It's just a couple of octopi. It's all good. Craziness.
That's cool. Yeah. Do we have anybody from Miller's available now? You want to squeeze in another corner?
They're looking kind of busy. Let's just talk about how awesome Miller's is.
You want to do that?
Yeah.
I think Miller's is awesome.
I do too. The food is outstanding.
They found it outstanding. And how great does it feel to sit here right now with this door open and a nice little breeze
you know,
coming in.
These restaurants, how they design them with these garage doors in every direction, they're phenomenal. This one being so close to the KSU campus, I mean, it was like it went out of business just for them because once they occupied it, I don't think this place will ever go out of business.
Well, it looks like there's over 15 screens just that are surrounding us. No, I see some more screens.
Yeah,
There's
yeah,
almost
yeah.
20 screens
And how
in
about
this one area.
and how about the staff here?
The staff, you know,
Incredible.
insane. You know, Sean, I keep, you know, I feel like I'm like he's going to Miyagi me every day I see him. I feel like he's going to, you know, give me some kind of knowledge that I was unaware of. I'm always on the
I
verge.
can
of
see that as Sean.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah.
sometimes it might come in a form that you weren't expecting, like, you know, hey, dumbass, your fly's open. But, you know, he's going to give you knowledge.
Yeah. Before we get back into, can I ask a silly question? Did we
silly
talk about
question.
Travis Bell on the show or before we got on the show?
Before.
So we
Let's
need
keep
to
talking about him.
we need to mention Travis Bell. He
Absolutely.
If you don't know who he is a defensive lineman from KSU, and he is the first player ever drafted from Kennesaw State University. And that is such a high honor. Nobody can ever take that away from him. Ever. First ever. And I watched Coach Bohannon's interview on WSB today with Travis, and he said, man, his journey started way before he got drafted, and you need to check out Travis Bell. But I texted Travis when he was a guest on our show, on the KSU show at 7 o'clock a couple of weeks ago, and I texted him, man, God is good. I know you're exactly where you want to be. He said, man, it's such a great feeling. So congratulations to Travis Bell, and we look forward to following your story.
Absolutely. And what a miracle that he only went to visit one team, and it was the Bears, the team that took him. You know, so many times you hear stories where, you know, I never never talked to the Titans and they took me or anything else. Not with this gentleman.
Yeah, I saw the Chicago Bears YouTube post or their media, and they just love him. They did an extended deep dive on him on a pick that was a later round, obviously, but
218.
exactly 7th round. But they love him. They actually had Coach Bohannon on the show, and he told some of his story, but that you could tell they genuinely, and just like the GM for the Bears said, that when he had his one visit, it was such a great visit and such a great fit, and they fell in love with him as a person. That he said neither one of us wanted to leave,
Right.
and that's a GM talking about about an athlete that they drafted in the 7th round, and so they're really high on him and looking forward to him fitting the culture with the Bears.
Yeah, and Travis said on his interview he had never seen his mother cry until he got drafted.
That's pretty awesome.
That's
That is
pretty
awesome.
cool.
That
yeah.
is very cool.
You know,
Yeah.
but you think about it, and I don't interview people who are getting ready to get drafted, so, this is kind of a new thing for me.
We've
but
had an NFL player on our show.
yes, we have. But, at the end of the day, if you're the general manager and you're the owner, because a lot of times the owner wants to sit in that room too, because I'd like to get my view. You see everybody. You see the guy who walks in, hey, how you doing? Some people sound humble, but you can smell it. That's not who they are. They're just trying to throw something. So it's a very nice thing when the people who can really see through a lot of different scenarios are the ones who are saying, no, this guy's the real deal.
And there are a lot of people who were picked after him. He wasn't even the Bears' last pick.
Correct.
Yeah,
Correct.
which is just so cool. I'm
That is
so
cool.
proud of him.
Yes.
Sorry, I just meant to bring that up during
No,
the
no,
draft conversation.
absolutely. I'm glad we got that one on here. We'll be, if you'd like to hear more about Travis, come back at 7 and watch
Be a
the
lot
house
of talk
shows.
about Travis.
So let's go straight to segment 3. And Coach, who is the best number 4 in the history of sport?
Well, being an old basketball coach, I'd have to say Jerry Sloan, but that's not my guy.
Jerry
That's
Sloan.
I pulled that one out, didn't I? But I had to come up with a basketball guy.
Hey, you
All
gotta love that
But no,
coach
you
for
know
the
what?
Jazz.
How about talk about hockey? Is it Bobby Orr? I don't know, right? Some people from Boston would say it is.
Absolutely.
Or Lou Gehrig, right? And the Yankees, and that's a good number 4. I don't know. Charles Barkley wore 4. And so that's another basketball deal there. But I guess probably modern era. Do you look at Brett Favre? I don't know. At 4 with the Packers. I don't know. Those are just some
Number-
4s. Yeah, yeah,
Favre's a pretty good
Yeah.
4.
yeah, yeah.
And he kissed Cameron Diaz.
Was she a 10?
Favre.
Yeah.
Yeah, Favre. Something. There's
Favre.
something about Mary.
Yeah, there sure is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you got, Chuck?
Mark took mine. Favre.
Favre.
He kissed Cameron Diaz. That's enough for me.
It's easy to get on Chuck's list.
That's it?
That's
That's all
enough.
you have to do
Today-
to get on the list?
Today, that's enough for me.
That's
yeah.
enough for you, huh?
Today, that's enough for me.
You
yeah.
know, I can remember when he was drafted
By the
by a
Falcons.
guy who left tickets at every game for Elvis. So that's what Glanville did. Every game, whether he was at home or on the road, he left 2 games in case Elvis wants to come out of hiding. He can come and watch me today. And that's the guy who had faith in him. That's the guy who didn't start him. I ran into him while partying down in Buckhead. I can remember hanging out at this place that only had 2 pool tables, and somebody said, that guy. It's like, that's the quarterback for the Falcons. I'm like, that's not the quarterback for the Falcons. Oh, that's the 3rd string quarterback. Yes, that is. And so I don't know that he would have ever amounted to anything if he would have stayed in Atlanta. But
Well, Bartkowski was our quarterback there then, right?
no, that would have been Mr. Illinois, Jeff George.
Jeff George.
Jeff George would have been our number
That is
one at that
exactly
point.
right.
That's a touchy subject.
But Jeff George.
He transferred from Purdue.
To
well,
Indiana.
We
right?
don't like him.
But Jeff George is one of those people. He's a combine hero. Standing there. All his measurables. He was the greatest. It didn't always work out that way for him. But
No, it did not. He wound up playing a lot of places. He played at Indy too, right?
Yes.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yes, I have his football card from when he played at Indy.
Oh, cool. Yeah. I don't know who are the other ones. Was Jimmy Fox a 4?
Jimmy Fox was a 4.
That is correct.
And,
yeah.
and I do have an interesting stat just for numbers. Do you know why Jimmy Fox was a 4?
Because he's a 4-hole hitter, right?
Because he batted fourth. And
yeah.
so when numbers first started in the late 20s, early 30s, they gave you the number that you were batting. That's why Babe Ruth is number 3. Has nothing to do with anything else. He was the 3rd hitter.
That's right.
Is that the way all numbers were assigned back then?
I think so. Yeah.
Just about all of them in the 20s and 30s.
So, how about if you had a substitute starting one day? What number are they? First substitute's 10, second substitute's 11.
Well, I think if you got to keep that position, well, then we'll give you a new number next year. But yeah, it's just kind of interesting that there was really no thought
That was
in
it.
that
The
at
batting
all,
order, that was
and,
it.
And whoever came up with that plan, which sounds like the dumbest plan that a kindergarten kid would come up with, everybody else, okay, that sounds like that's a good way.
Yeah. I wanted to go football because I think I've gone other sports the rest of the time.
I wanted to go something else too, Chuck, but
Yeah.
here I am.
But I got to give some love to Barkley too.
Barkley's a man.
Yeah.
The round mound of rebound. Barkley's the only person I know who, when he was drafted, was 6'8", and every year he win a new rebounding title. You go, I'm
shorter
I'm
and
really
shorter,
just
didn't he?
6'6".
Yeah.
I'm 6'5". I think he ended up 6'4", 6'4.5", but unbelievable.
But I still rebound just as well.
See, I considered not going racing and going with Brett Favre, but then all of you went Brett Favre, and you said Fittipaldi, and I went, wait a minute. Emerson Fittipaldi was number 4. He's a 2-time Formula One world champion.
Are you telling
He's a
me that I
2-time
gave
Indy
you
500
your
winner.
answer?
Yes.
Oh Lord! If I'm giving you racing answers, that's horrible.
He's a 2-time Indy 500 winner. He's a 2-time Formula One world champion. I mean, he's a legend. Unfortunately, we disowned him because he drank orange juice when he
Instead
won
of
the
milk.
Indy 500 instead of milk.
Yeah.
Why would you? I'm all about.
He owned.
If you got a Coke contract and they tell you to drink a Pepsi, I understand that. Why would you do that?
He owned some orange fields down in Brazil.
So I'm going to alienate the entire world just because I own 6 trees, 7,000 miles away.
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
That makes sense. That's good.
The
Yeah.
second time he won, he drank milk.
Well, that's good. But nobody liked him by that.
Yeah.
point.
He had already dug his own grave. Yeah. Yeah.
So-
Go ahead, Robert.
Well, I was gonna go ahead. I was getting ready to get into my number 4.
Oh, that's fine.
So I'm sad. I'm very sad. I'm bewildered. I love baseball. My number one, my favorite teams in the world for all sports are anybody playing the Cowboys, followed by anybody playing the Yankees. And this is where all my enjoyment comes from. So for the third week in a row, I am picking a Yankee for the greatest number. He won 2 MVPs in his life. One of those MVPs was in 1927, the Murderers Row team of the Yankees, who is considered the greatest baseball team of all time. This guy was MVP on that team. He won a Triple Crown in 1934 and came in 5th in MVP. How do you win a Triple Crown and come in 5th? The guy who won it, Mickey Cochran, if you were still alive, I'd have you on the show next week so you could explain to me how when you batted 270 with 2 home runs, they decided to give you the MVP. But I don't know how I cannot go Mr. Gehrig. You know, one of the coolest things that we mention in sport is don't get Wally pipped. Well, this is the guy behind Wally Pipp. Wally Pipp was an all-star who they took out for one day. Unfortunately for him, his replacement didn't take a day off for the next 17 years, you know. He died by a disease that is named after him.
Right.
Yeah, there's
good
no.
Lord.
He has a Triple Crown and a disease.
And a couple MVPs, and he went to Columbia, so he's also Ivy League smart. On top of all the other things that you can talk about, he's Ivy League smart.
Are there any other athletes with diseases named after him?
Tommy John surgery?
Oh, cool. Yeah.
I don't know if he was an athlete.
That would be an injury, yeah.
That's still a good one to throw in there.
That fits.
You know, if you look at ALS, which is amyotrophic lateral sclerosis, also known as Lou Gehrig's disease, a lot of people die, like 40 to 50% die within 30 months. And there's a time in the 1934 season, once again, Triple Crown winning year of 1934, where he just collapsed on the field. And nobody knew what it was, and he said, I think I got a cold in my back or something. I can't feel anything. Well, that's the number one thing that ALS gives you. It's numbness in your body. That happened in 1934. He fell to the ground. He batted the next game as the leadoff hitter, and then they subbed him out. So it was the only time in his career they ever had him bat leadoff, and they had to take him out. So basically, this guy had 2 days to recover from most likely his first bout with ALS, and then he played another 4 years or 5 years at the highest level, not to mention completed the Triple Crown and gave the greatest speech in sports history, right?
Today is the greatest day.
Yeah.
I am the luckiest man on the
Face
face of the earth.
Yeah.
Good Lord. You don't get, when Gary Cooper plays you know, it doesn't get much better.
That's right.
There's another one. Who else got to play great athletes? Gary Cooper. That's
Gary
awesome.
Cooper. Sergeant York and, just unbelievable. Had to go him. And, you know, 3 out of the 6 highest RBI total single seasons are him. He's got 3 of the top 6. He's got like 185 RBIs one year, 176 a couple times. You know, just stupid numbers where you look at him and you're like, it's incredible.
And that's a good point. I mean, he might be like a half number 4 and Favre the other 4, but is it unusual how closely Aaron Rodgers and Brett Favre's careers have paralleled each other?
Incredibly.
Yeah.
I saw a stat the other day for Mr. Love, and it was fewest passes thrown by a first-round quarterback through the first 4 years of their career. And Jordan Love has got like 89, right? And he's 5th all time. 3 of the guys you've never heard of, and the other guy on the list is Rodgers. Rodgers is 3rd on the list because he didn't throw anything his first 3 years.
Yeah.
So, you know, but the parallels are very crazy.
It is funny. And you get into the stats like that. I think they've overblown it with next-gen stats. He's got the most hits for somebody that's been in the first 2.5 years. And come on, let's just talk about real stats, you know?
But, you know, it all depends on the stats. I think baseball, you know, some of these new baseball stats are pretty unique and pretty intense. But, yeah, I'm with you. You know, there's a reason why these guys were number 4, and they were all just discussed because they are that good.
Yeah. I can't wait for number 8. That's what I'm going to tell you.
And just for the record,
4 weeks
I'm
away.
going to do whatever I can to not say Joe DiMaggio next week, but it's freaking Joe DiMaggio. You know, if ever you got to, well, let's see.
Wait. Number 5? Bob Horner was number 5.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go
There's
with
my
guy-
man.
I'm gonna have to take the guy
Arizona
who
State.
took Marilyn
Yeah,
Monroe to bed.
Yeah.
You know,
He got my vote.
Yeah. If kissing Cameron Diaz
Yeah,
gets
that's
your
right.
vote, then marrying Marilyn Monroe should be pretty good too.
That'd be way up there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That
Way
would
up.
be. Yeah.
Johnny Bench was 5 too, wasn't he?
Yes, he was, and he's really high on my list.
Yeah, I'm sure he is.
So one last commercial, Bearcat Express. Do you need a delivery right now, as in go now, please? Bearcat Express has expedited shipping on hand-carried items, car van or pickup. Whether it's from Atlanta to Athens, Dothan to Augusta, Memphis to Charlotte, and any place in between, we've got the drivers to get your stuff where it needs to be. Whether your passport's still on the dresser, your 5-wood isn't in your bag, or you have a dog that hates to fly, Bearcat Express with their live tracking capabilities is the team to turn to. We are the go-to courier in the Southeast. Check us out at bearcatexpress.com.
And again, thank you, Blair and Alvin and David, for your sponsorship, continued sponsorships of the 3 Guys Who Love Sports, and also the Owls Who Live Sports, which will be coming up at 7 o'clock right here at Miller's Ale House.
Absolutely. So Braves on cruise control outside of thinking that Ronald had a broken back 2 days ago.
Does he not?
No, he came back yesterday, hit a double, stole a base. So it's all good again. But
All good.
They're pretty strong. I know that the Mets and the Marlins were both 3 games back coming into this series, but now I think the Mets, they got rained out yesterday.
3.5 back.
Yeah. And I don't know why. It seems like to me every time the Braves turn around, they're playing the Marlins. I don't know why. But, I mean, I know they're in our division and all that
correct.
stuff.
But, that changed. That was one of the better things that I thought changed this year. Everybody's talking about the clocks and the size of the bag and the shift and this and that. But, you used to, as of last year, you were playing every team in your division 18 times. This year, you were only playing every team in your division 13 times. Might not sound like a big difference, but there's 5 teams in every division, so that's 20 less division games that you're playing. So there was always hope, if you started out horrible, you go, well, we'll just have to beat up on our division and get back in it. That's not going to happen so easily anymore. So, you might not think that we play the Marlins hardly ever again, over the next 3 or 4 months.
And I'm still kind of blown away by the Rays. I mean, they're playing good. What, they're 22-4 or something like that?
They're still good.
Yeah.
Very
And,
good.
So we'll see what happens. But I think my Padres are finally above 500.
Yeah, 162 games. It really doesn't matter what you do in April. You can't win the pennant in April, but you can sure as heck lose it.
Right.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, these teams with all these big payrolls and talent, Harper came back yesterday. That's going to help the Phillies and everything else. I just wanted to. I've got Acuna on my fantasy team. Thank you very much to everybody in Loretta for letting me have him. He just won Player of the Month today. So he was the hottest and best baseball player for the first month of the season in all of baseball. He's number 1 in points for fantasy and things like that. I just wanted to read out a couple of his on-pace totals for this season. Acuna is on the verge. He's on pace to have 234 hits.
That's a lot of hits.
Score 145 runs.
That's
Hit
a lot of runs.
Hit 27 home runs, 95 walks, only 111 strikeouts. Now, those are stupid numbers for a power hitter. But then at the end of the day, how about 78 steals? He is on pace right now to steal 78 bases. Outside of Ricky Henderson and
Lou Brock
and Vince Coleman and then Lou Brock, you got to go all the way back to people like Ty Cobb to start finding people who are you kidding me? When they hit him with the pitch, I was devastated thinking what's going to happen to our lineup. But he is it's unbelievable, and he's going to go through sooner or later he's going to cool off a little bit. But
The power. I tell you, the game 1 Mets game on Monday, the 448 feet in the third deck.
oh yeah,
Yeah, I mean, I'm telling you that was just crazy, and how high that hit. I mean, the power. Yeah.
He's 6 foot and 180. Sometimes you watch somebody hit a baseball and you're like, oh, what is that guy? Well, that guy's 6'6" and he weighs 240. When he connects, it's supposed to go that far. 180. how a guy hits
With that
into
much
the
power.
third deck.
Exactly,
is
right.
Unbelievable.
You know, one thing I looked at a deep dive real quick about the Braves today. You know, they've got 10 losses. All right, three of their losses are guys that are not even on the roster pitching now. So, you know, I mean, you know, they're 23-7. That's not too bad. You know, and I know you can't go back and do that, but I'm just saying if they would have had their people, you know, kind of thing, because, you know, there's people talking about being dinged up or beat up. Everybody's going to suffer through that.
Sure.
But I thought, you know what, that would, you know, we talk about all the wins for the Rays and, you know, in Pittsburgh's, you know, still playing good baseball, you know.
Yeah, Pittsburgh's probably the biggest surprise out there.
Yeah, I mean, Pittsburgh and, you know, there's a few teams, you know, the Orioles are not in first place because of the Rays, but the Orioles are playing incredible baseball, and Pirates are playing incredible baseball. Did you see the rookie for the Pirates who got called up last week? His name is Drew Maggi.
The 33-year-old?
The 33-year-old career minor leaguer. The guy is like fourth all-time in like all these different minor league at-bat totals and everything else. And, you know, just beautiful. The guy came up, served one to center field, his first at-bat, 1 for 1.
Great
Yeah.
story.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, that's awesome. Those are the fun stories about sports. The Travis Bells, the Maggi, the guy like this, it's cool. It's really, really cool.
And with baseball especially, just because, you know, I don't know a lot about D-League, NBA basketball, and there really isn't a minor league, so to speak, like that for hockey and football. You have, you know, a practice squad. This guy's riding a bus. You know, minor league isn't traveling from here to here with any class or anything. This guy's been on a bus staying at some horrible hotels for 15 straight years. So kudos to you and anybody else who's chasing their dream. And
Your love for
gets
the
it-
game is
gets-
something that's special.
And that's the one thing you can't get. He knows he can't get the love for the game anywhere else, so he stayed with it.
Yeah, I'm very
It's
impressed
beautiful.
by somebody like that. So, and he's not making bad money, but he's not buying his own plane and all that stuff.
No. Well, and I believe once you make it up to the major league roster as of this year, you're making minimum this season of like $740.
Yeah.
So you know, when you think about what he's been paid over 15 years, woo!
Exactly. 740 is a whole
That-
career, right?
Absolutely. Well, and
Yeah.
you know, you think about a guy who
Yeah.
makes $50,000 a year and he's got 4 kids at home and everything
Absolutely.
else. You know, well, you just got that times 15. You know, and you know, kudos to you, Mr. Maggi.
Absolutely. He's the Maggi man.
He is the Magic
Magic
Man.
Man.
Yeah.
And so, what are you guys thinking about all the rules since we're a few weeks in now, a month in now?
Well, the one thing you said about Acuna might have 78 bases, I think the pitch clock has a lot to do with that.
Absolutely.
I really do. I mean, I think it's sped up the game, and I think we all agree it's about 25, 26 minutes a game. That's faster now. And for some fans, they love it. The ones that just want to go have beer and sit at the stadium probably doesn't care one way or the other. But from the purist standpoint, it's helped the game, I think.
Sure.
I agree. Yeah, I think so too.
You know, the game as I pointed out a few weeks on here ago, the game is now the same length as it used to be in 1978. It's not like, you know, we've shortened the game. We just got back to what it was 40 years ago before the invention of Velcro on a Boston uniform or anything else like that.
Is the game better now? Is it better now than it was 40 years ago?
It's got a lot more competition. You know, 40 years ago, boy, you know, baseball was still considered, you know, the creme de la creme, and you know, obviously,
America's pastime. Yeah.
Football has sailed past it in the last few years. I did see something the other day talking about the playoff for next year. Once it goes into effect, there'll be the game to get into the.
You're talking about the college playoffs.
Correct. It'll go college game on Thursday, college game on Friday. Both those winners will play for the national championship, and then it'll go straight into wild card weekend. So you'll have 5 straight days of football where it's win or go home. It's like, good Lord. You know, I'm taking a few days off myself.
I'm all excited about football already. The draft, like I said, the draft is the last big spring party, and now it's look at summer camp and all that stuff, and I'll be following it pretty closely. Especially, I've become a Bears fan now because
Absolutely.
I was a big Aaron Rodgers and Packers fan, and I'll probably still pull for the Packers, but not when they play the Bears. I'm a Travis Bell fan.
Well, I tell you, that's good about Travis Bell with it being such a high character guy and being the first person ever drafted from your university. I mean, he has really broken out, so to speak, but he paves the way for other possible for KSU athletes, and they say, hey, you know what? This, if that's the kind of product they turn out at Kennesaw State University,
I want to be a part of this.
That's right. We're going to take a closer look, and then of course recruiting should help recruiting, right? Obviously, but kudos to him. What a great first. In the school history. And, exactly, absolutely.
And what really ticked me off, the only thing that ticked me off about the draft is they never said anything about him other than Travis Bell out of Kennesaw State. They didn't have any stats on him, anything on the Saturday night draft. So that really ticked me off. So,
hey, I do want to throw out one more thing on baseball. Last night there was a game that nobody saw, and I mean literally nobody saw. It was two rookie pitchers, both with the last name of Wilson, who were born one day apart, and they both had no hitters going into the sixth inning. What's the chances that you got two rookies, both named Wilson, born a separate day apart, and you know how many people saw that game? 2,563. Yes, that's the Oakland A's, but soon to be Las Vegas.
Soon to be Las Vegas.
Good Lord. Unbelievable. It was a good show, my friend.
Are we done?
I think we're done. It's
all right,
6 o'clock on the nose, and I think
6 o'clock. Yeah. All right, so guys, as always, thank you, Mark, for coming on, buddy.
It's my pleasure.
Mark
Thank
is
you.
going to be a frequent guest. We like having Mark on.
Absolutely.
And guys, I can tell you from personal experience, it's very important to know your numbers. Go out there, get your prostate checked, and cover your ass because it may save your life. Have a great week. We'll see you next week.